Another Thursday, another NumbersLie Zoom coming at you live in full effect through the snowstorm. We coming at you. I hope y'all somewhere warm. You could have been anywhere else in the world, but you're here with us. We appreciate it. NumbersLie, the podcast, back in effect. So we definitely wanted to get in front of y'all and discuss, our reactions to obviously one of the biggest news stories to hit in a long time, the Brian Flores coaching fiasco situation, whatever you want to call it. It's a lot going on with that. I watched ESPN yesterday, the whole lineup, just to see what they were talking about. Obviously, Jeff Saturday was talking a lot about it. Shout out to him for being an ally on that and talking about it. But obviously, if you haven't heard, if you were under a rock, Brian Flores has sued correct me if I'm wrong, the NFL, the Miami Dolphins, the New York Giants, and was it one more team? Or was that it?
The Broncos.
Denver
Broncos.
Yeah.
So real quick, just to kind of, take you through, a little bit about Brian Flores. He's been in the NFL 18 years, whether it be a head coach or coordinator. His overall record is 210-79. Playoff record is 24-10. He's been with the Miami Dolphins, for the past 3 years. His past 2 years, actually, he's won 10 and 9 games respectively. So he was a winning coach. And, if you heard his soundbite from the last couple of days, he was actually asked to tank. He was asked to take $100,000 per game to lose, take a vacation or take $100,000 per game and lose games just so we can get tank for a higher draft pick. And he refused to do it. Things of that nature. So, he's obviously a successful coach. I know a lot of people, we posted the text message from him and Bill Belichick. He's obviously under the Bill Belichick coaching tree. He texted with Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick basically said, congratulations on the Giants job. So I guess he thought he was texting the white Brian, but he was texting the black Brian. And Brian Flores was like, sorry, coach, are you texting the other Brian or are you texting me? And I haven't even interviewed yet. What are you talking about? So basically, and Brian Flores basically said, I was embarrassed. I was, it was just an embarrassment to me. And that was a huge thing. So, and then one more thing, let me see. Also, the Giants, a couple of things. Giants had never hired a black head coach in their whole history of being a team. Brian Flores is from Brooklyn. He's under the Bill Belichick coaching tree, so he would have been a good candidate for the Giants job. He actually beat Bill Belichick twice this past year. The Dolphins beat the Patriots twice this past year. And just one other thing they said about black head coaches, the only head coach right now, Mike Tomlin, is the second longest tenured head coach in the NFL under Bill Belichick. And he's obviously successful, Super Bowl winning championship coach. So it's like, you get the Rooney Rule into place to hire more black head coaches, but you don't do it. But the numbers say that you should. So, there's a couple of things, but how do we feel about that?
Yeah, it's really interesting because 70% of the league is African American, and there's only one head coach in the league. That speaks for itself.
Correct me if I'm wrong. When they instituted the Rooney Rule back in 2002, I believe, I think they were like, 2 or 3 head coaches, and now there's only one.
Right. Yeah, I think it was Tony Dungy.
Yep.
Jim Caldwell. Caldwell wasn't a head coach. It was Tony Dungy. I want to say Lovie Smith was coming up the coaching ranks at that time, and Romeo Crennel might have been.
Yes.
I mean, Dungy won a Super Bowl as well. So, it's you would think they would want to hire black head coaches, but it's obviously
Good Boys Club.
Good old boys.
I mean, and with that being said, not my fault for interrupting, the fact that Josh McCown, who was a high school football coach, former NFL player, is in his last interview with the Houston Texans. says a lot about the hiring practices in the NFL. He was a career backup quarterback, retires, goes and coaches high school football, and somehow he's supposed to lead a group of professional athletes the very next year after just helping out his kicker with his algebra homework and girlfriend problems 6 months ago. Like, it just doesn't make sense at all.
I mean, to be honest, it just shows you a picture that these owners, they want to hire people that look like them, people that they can control that look like them. You know, I mean, like I said, 70% of the league is black people. Why don't you have more than one black coach?
Same reason you don't have no black. Well, I think the second or third black GM, 2 black GMs are hired this cycle, and I think that brings a total like 4 or 5. No black owners. Like, it's
black owners, right?
Like Flores said, the owners are just so close-minded to the thought of African Americans leading their teams that a lot of times the interviews are specifically to fulfill the Rooney Rule, opposed to being a legitimate interview to see if this particular African American coach can actually lead your team.
I believe you're getting closed-minded confused with racism.
I'll take that.
Speak on it.
I was just going out. I was just going off what Flores said verbatim because he was on TV.
Gotcha.
So, you know, but I agree with you 100%. That's all it is closeted racism, especially going into an interview, almost knowing that you're not going to give this candidate a legitimate chance, like in the New York Giants hiring interview. You know, Dabo had already been promised the job, yet they were still planning to interview Brian Flores. So the job was already promised to someone, and you know, now I'm not saying that they were going to interview him to fulfill the Rooney Rule, because I believe they had already interviewed 2 black coaches prior to giving Dabo the job. But there's still a level of disrespect, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? So already promise someone a job and still make this man come in and interview with him thinking that he has a legitimate shot at getting the job.
I hate the Rooney Rule. Don't give me a token interview just to check a box.
Right.
It like literally, they're part of the Rooney Rule now is if you hire not even a black coach, a minority coach, you get an extra 3rd round draft pick or something like. I don't want that, because you end up like David Culley. You go there, they get the extra pick, and then they fire you after the season, go hire the guy that they really wanted just for that pick. Like, no.
So y'all believe him being a whistleblower, y'all believe he's gonna get a shot in the league?
So here's my thing about it. I
salute him.
Yeah, absolutely. He's done. He's done. He's not coming back. You just can't sue the league and expect to come back to that. No. But I commend him for, you know, telling his truth.
This world is
speaking up.
This world is so wild.
However, I mean, the NFL is a business. You can't tell an owner, a businessman, how to run his business. I totally get that side. You know, it's unfortunate that it's only one black coach because of this closed-mindedness. But at the end of the day, it's a business, and unfortunately, I feel like that lawsuit is not going to go anywhere, and we're going to have the same situation each year, every single year, until the owners, you know, figure out if they want to be progressive or not. I don't see that.
I get what you're saying as far as, you know, you can't tell, you know what I'm saying, these owners how to run their business. But are you really a businessman if you don't take no type of constructive criticism to any type of other, you know what I'm saying, just suggestions? If you run a team that's your particular team is probably 85 to 90% African American, and you know what I'm saying, let's just say you a team like the Texans, you know what I'm saying, you just been losing and losing and losing.
My thing is, as an owner, you supposed,
you know, that these African American coaches can't coach, can't relate to the 90% African Americans that you have in the locker room? Like, are they really businessmen, or are they just dudes that own the team?
Well, I think in a sense they are businessmen because they're looking to make money. Like
Absolutely.
the bottom line is what's important.
It's the bottom line. That's what comes down.
But what the difference is when the owners aren't picking based on they're picking based on a business. They're not picking based on winning, because you can't, like, you're supposed to be picking the best coach for the job.
Don't sell tickets,
right?
Nobody comes to see the fucking coach.
But winning sells tickets. So
exactly.
That's what I'm saying. If you're not picking the best coach,
what are you doing?
That's what I'm saying. That's why I don't say it's just a business, because if you're a good businessman, you want to put the best product on the field, which means you hire the best man available. So I'm not gonna say it's business as usual at all, because clearly it's not business. It's just nepotism. That basically that's all it is. I'm hiring this guy because this is my homie.
That's what I was trying to explain, but y'all better than me, so y'all got it.
No, I get what you're saying, but I don't know. The whole situation is weird.
What else I didn't like was I was listening to a lot of talk radio and TV today, and a lot of analysts and stuff was asking him why did he go through with the interview, and I'm thinking, what you mean why go through with the interview? Like, if he don't go through with the interview, we're not having this podcast right now. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and then they were like, wow, he didn't even want to do it.
It's like he no call, no showed. He don't want the job. He don't want to be a coach. Like,
see, these black people
way worse for not showing up at that point.
I'm like, why would you ask him that question? Like, that's a never mind, whatever.
I think as journalists and as media personality, they had to ask that question just to have the massive follow up where he was coming from. I don't think they actually thought, like, why did you even go? Like, I think that was just a question they asked. But I was a little mad at first. Like, man, what you mean?
I kind of took it as the analyst. Trying to take up for the NFL. Like, why you snitching now? Like, why you go and still do the interview when you know you ain't do the job? When you know you wasn't gonna get the job?
I think that was one of the questions they established before. Like, all right, I'm gonna ask you this question before stuff like that. So
yeah, I can see that.
But that's literally the same question that we ask in the NFL. What the hell you got me on the schedule for the interview and you done already promised the job to somebody?
Exactly. I'm required to do this.
Exactly.
Damn it.
That's
but the Giants had already interviewed two African American candidates. So it wasn't even about the Rooney Rule with Brian Flores. It was, in my opinion, is just a lack of respect. Call that man and tell him then.
Right.
Call him and
Don't
tell
waste
him.
your time. Don't waste your time coming in. That's
terrible. So couple things. I'll go ahead.
No, I'm saying, like, even beyond that, like, Mina Kim brought up, like, she's my favorite person to listen to now on ESPN, and she was saying 3-4 years ago when it was like the young offensive minded coaches, she had a GM reach out like, yeah, we didn't go with any black guys this time because they're mostly defensive minded coaches, and so so we're trying to get young offensive gurus out there. She's like, okay. She's like, yeah, I believed it. It made sense to me because I saw the hiring cycle. But then the next cycle, you get Vic Fangio a job, and he's 70 and a defensive-minded coach. Now you got Matt Eberflus, who's a defensive-minded coach. Like, and she's like, so no, now it doesn't make sense to me. Like, you just told me what I wanted to hear at the time, when it's like, you're not hiring offensive-minded coach. You're just hiring white coaches at this point. It makes, like, there's no rhyme or reason behind it. And even on the assistant level, like, people were knocking Eric Bieniemy, saying like, oh, he don't call the plays. Andy Reid calling the plays. That's why he ain't getting a job. But the Packers offensive coordinator just got hired, and we literally see Matt LaFleur call all the plays for the Packers, but somehow he gets the job before Eric Bieniemy, who has a way better proven track record than Hackett from the Packers. Like, it's just, I don't know, it literally makes no sense whatsoever.
So, real quick, what other jobs was Brian Flores eligible for? I think, or trying to get. One was the Saints, right?
No, the Saints came open after he had already been interviewing.
Okay.
The Texans. Texans.
Texans. Yeah, I think the Saints would be a good landing spot for him. That would be dope. And that just goes into my other question I wanted to ask y'all. What Menifee was asking earlier. Do y'all think he still has a shot at getting a job? I think he does because
Brian Flores?
I do.
I think Brian Flores. I think he gets a job. No, I think he gets a job. I think he gets a job eventually.
Right.
I won't say, I don't know if he goes right back into head coaching. He'll get a defensive coordinator job if nothing else.
It'll be levels, but what Jeff Saturday was saying on every ESPN show that I saw, he was literally on every one of them, the only one talking. That was a different story. But he was basically saying that if you're looking at this guy, Brian Flores, through all of this stuff, look, he was asked to tank and he didn't. He had, and then Colin Coward said the same thing too. He had a bad quarterback, a bad roster on the Miami Dolphins, still won games the past 2 years, still had winning records. And you basically know that he wants to win. He can lead teams. Why wouldn't you want him as a coach? So now this is like a resume booster, low key. Like,
I think he gets a shot.
Boy, you watch all the mob movies, bro. You watch all the mafia movies, bro. You know what happened to snitches, bro. You know what happened to snitches? They about to blackball the shit out of him.
Exactly.
It's not gonna be as bad as Colin Kaepernick.
Okay.
I'm gonna tell you the reason why.
Even if he do get a job, listen to what Juwan just said. He said he probably gonna get like a defensive coordinator position or something. So now he got to start at the bottom of the totem pole again, just to work his way back up to what he's supposed to be destined to be. That's whack. It's whack.
It's trash, but I don't think he's totally blackballed like Cap.
Yeah, there's no way in today's right now, the amount of like eyes on this, there's no way they can blackball.
The amount of awkwardness,
zero chance.
To go into these stadiums and see these owners before the games after you just sue them, like no way.
He has to get a job now. Like
he has to get a job. Like he literally has to.
If he does it, that's like, oh, so y'all was really racist.
Right. They're going to hire him just so the lawsuit can be dropped. If nothing else,
levels, not just not just a job, like a nice quality head coaching job.
I think the Saints would be good for him. Like I think he's going to get a job because look, all the eyes are on it now. So like,
I think he's going to get a job for real. I think he's going to get a job.
A head coaching job?
Huh?
Yeah, he'll get a head coaching job. And then all those.
How long? How many years?
Within either this season or next season. He'll get a head coaching job.
So in 2 years, he'll be a head coach in the NFL.
Yeah, I'll bet the over on that one. The fuck? We talk. Hey,
feel like dude from Django, man. Look, you got to have faith, Phil. It's change.
I mean, I think it will happen.
Be real, man. And you can't sue somebody and expect to work back with them. Like that's all right.
And it's Black History Month. Hey, what was you saying, Juwan? How he did it, like with his plan of action and how
his steps of like the things he's asking for. Like they never said like a monetary value. I didn't say anything about a monetary value, but the things he's asking for in the suit is cold. Like literally, I don't think he's asking for money. He's asking for a process of events in the NFL. So that's what I'm saying. Like he's not suing them for $50 billion. He's suing them for, I want you guys to have an investment firm for Black investors to become owners one day. There should be a clinic to help younger Black coaches excel faster to become a head coach. Like those aren't right. Like, and that's why I say, that's why I don't think he's blackballed or is a black guy.
That's crazy.
Because he's not asking for
even if they create a fund for like Black coach or try to get a fund for Black person to be an owner. Do you know that the NFL, you still got to vote them in by all 32 owners? Got to prove that?
Not all 32, it's majority.
Oh, the majority rather.
Yeah.
Like even Donald Trump tried to get one, and he has a massive following. He couldn't get ownership. So could you imagine?
Now look, how does it look? How does it look if Bob Johnson, who's a finalist for the Denver Broncos job,
I would love to have Bob Johnson.
He kind of wishy-washy mouth. He ain't a nigga. I mean, a black guy, but I'll take it. I'll take it. But I would say, but like now, say he applies tomorrow and he's a finalist, and then the vote numbers come out the next day. The NFL don't want none of that. Like, there's no way the NFL is going to be like, oh, you only got eight out of 32. That is Not like this is literally a snowball.
Bro, this is their business. Like, you can't tell these men what to do with how they roll,
get
how
what
they
you're
operate
saying.
their business. That's
But
what I'm trying to tell
if you think that they don't got an eye on social media, on the ESPNs of the world, then they're not good businessmen at all.
Hey, we just
So
heard
that's what I'm saying,
allegedly
like,
a
I get what
owner
you're
tried to
saying,
give a
but
man $100,000 to throw a game. So I mean, come on now. Do we
boy,
really
that shit
want to
been
win or not?
happening. You think teams ain't been tanking for forever? Tank
Oh,
for
I know
love?
that. I know
So
that.
like,
I'm just
that's
saying, like,
not
some
news
people
to
don't
me.
care about winning like you think they do, or
No, they do. What they're saying is, I can give up this season to get a 12-year franchise quarterback. You lose the battle to win the war. So yes, they care about winning. They care about putting butts in them seats. That's
That was
like,
huge. I think that was huge. Like him telling everybody, like, yeah, I was asked to tank. Like that's
but
gonna
that's
be
been
big.
out. I want y'all to Google
Not like
Hugh
this, though.
Jackson from Cleveland, the Cleveland Browns, old black head coach.
And then,
He's been said that about the Browns. They would pay him to lose games. It just didn't get the national attention, but literally he said that in the past.
he came on to piggyback off of Brian Flores, and he was like, "Yeah, I was asked too." And he was on all the ESPN shows as well. So, all right, final thoughts on this before we move on.
Brian Flores will never get a head coaching job in the NFL for suing the NFL.
I don't agree.
I respect what he did. I appreciate it as a black man sticking up for himself. And it's just unfortunate how things are ran in the NFL. I'm still gonna watch though.
I'm indifferent about whether or not he'll get a head coaching job. I almost kind of feel like, he does have a slight chance within the next 2 years. Initially, when this first came out, I did not, because obviously before you get all of the details and whatnot, you hear lawsuit and you immediately think that he's going to sue for monetary gain for what he thinks that he should, possibly be compensated as being a head coach, but without getting the opportunities. But seeing that he hasn't asked for a dime, I think that plays into his favor of possibly coaching again in the NFL.
Hey, I want him to prove me wrong. That's all. But we'll see. What we're gonna see in 2 years.
All right, Phil. Minnow, what's your thoughts, man?
I just hope the man get what his dream is to coach, to be a head coach in the NFL. That's all I want to see.
I already did that. Had 2 winning seasons, so in a row. So
well, that's what I meant.
It's just so wild to me how you fired me for losing and you asked me to do it.
To get a player that I didn't want to get anyway. Like they were losing to get Tua. Flores did not want Tua. He made it known he didn't want Tua, and then they get Tua and lose with Tua, and then Tua gets hurt, and then they start winning. It's just like, come on, man. Like, what do you want from me at this point?
Sounds about right. I mean, right? Sounds about right.
Placeholder.
This whole situation is just so glaring, and I'm gonna follow this, and I'm gonna watch more ESPN than I usually do, because I want to see the talking points. I want to see who steps up. I want to see what white former NFL players step up and actually talk about
with
this.
That. Honestly, this is the truth. On the ESPN shows I've seen, like that I've watched, Jeff Saturday and Darren Orlovsky are like the only 2 white former players they bring on. Like they bring on Ryan Clark, they bring on Marcus Spears, they bring on Rex Ryan. But I don't remember seeing any other former. Oh, and Nikovic. They bring on Nikovic. But
not necessarily
that, I don't really see.
Not
Let
necessarily.
JJ Redick become an NFL player. It's gonna be slim pickings with, the white guys stepping up. Speaking out about it.
It don't even have to be on ESPN. I just want to see in general, Twitter, whatever. Like
I don't want former white players coming. I want current white head coaches to say something. I want Mike Tomlin to say something. Like that's what I feel like that matters way more than anything Jeff Saturday says.
Okay.
That's what I want to see. I want to see the face of the NFL say. I want Patrick Mahomes to say something. Tom Brady gone. I want Patrick Mahomes to say something because he's the clean cut. Aaron Rodgers can't really say nothing because he already got the has to divide it with his COVID. No, I'm saying because of his COVID allegations.
Yeah, he can't
Like, he's not
say.
the face of,
Wow.
like
That's
Patrick
not
Mahomes is the
everything.
face of NFL.
Right.
Joe Burrow, like those players should say something.
You think they're gonna, real quick before we stop this? What do y'all think is gonna happen in the Super Bowl? Like, you think they're gonna speak on it? What's gonna happen? Like, you think somebody gonna take a stance?
Bro, y'all got a whole
Take a stance?
halftime. What you mean?
Huh?
Got a whole halftime.
Nah,
That's all I get.
not for the
I
Super
don't
Bowl.
expect
All of
anyone
this-
that's
all
in the
of this
Super Bowl to
happened
say
before.
anything about it right now.
They're gonna try
But
to
media
sweep
day
this under the
coming up.
rug.
Media day next week.
Okay, Jay-Z, Mary J. Blige.
I think Jalen Ramsey might say something.
Catch y'all up.
I thought it was Dr. Dre.
He gonna smack his lips 4 times before he get it.
Man, they bogus, man.
Before he get it.
Hey, I rock with you. I rock with you.
I rock with Brian Flores, period. That's what he gonna say.
All right, that's it on that. So hopefully that brother gets the change that we all need. We're gonna end this topic right now. So check us out on the next episode of NumbersLie, and I'll holler at y'all later on. Peace out.